Fashion. So what we're talking about today. Hey everybody, it's me, Blake, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the fashion trends that you can expect to see in 2020. I would also like to point out that I am not drinking alone because my dogs are home. But first and foremost, one of the things that I want to go ahead and get out of the way, and I talk about this at the very beginning of the article as well, is that when you're looking at fashion trends and thinking about what people are going to be wearing in a given year, it's very subjective. And if you did a Google search for like men's fashion trends 2020, you're probably going to come across a lot of articles that are looking at runway shows, fashion week, exposes in some of these fashion capitals around the world. And yes, those are important in terms of like their cultural relevance for fashion, but it's really critical to keep in mind that what people are wearing on the runway is not necessarily what everyday people are going to be wearing out on the street and at work and when they're going out. Fashion shows, runway shows, those are meant to typically showcase a designer's best work and also to kind of push the narrative of fashion a little bit further. So a lot of the looks that you see actually on runways are going to be exaggerated and more pronounced than what most people will be wearing. A lot of designers who do option their clothing for retail stores or, who uh, have their clothes appearing in chains, is what I'm trying to say. A lot of times what they show on the runway is not what they're putting in stores that most people are shopping at. I'm sure that the runway looks are, completely available in like their smaller boutiques and, something that they have in-house to be able to use for events. But what goes to the stores is a scaled down, quieter version of that typically. There's nothing wrong with dressing in a loud, over-exaggerated way, which I think you'll get once I start talking about some of the trends that we're expecting to see. But I just want to make it really clear that you don't have to look like you're wearing what was showcased on the runway to still be trendy and in style. Most of us, myself included, especially myself, cannot afford what they show on the runway, and that's perfectly fine. You can be a Goodwill queen like me and still get by looking fashionable. So it's been a very long work week, and it's Monday. I'm recording this on Monday, and it's already been a long work week, which is why the recording glass of wine is necessary. Let's just go for one more sip. All right, fashion trends. So first one that I want to talk about and that I break down in the article is in regards to your tops. So with shirts, one of the things that we're seeing more and more of is, they are designs that rely upon multiple patterns or multiple textiles. Sometimes you'll see these referred to as patchwork shirts. Typically with a patchwork shirt, if you're using that term, it's referring specifically to the pattern of the shirt because it looks like it's been made out of a patchwork of multiple shirts. So sometimes this can be really subtle. You might have like a standard Oxford shirt, but one quarter panel of the front is, patterned more like a traditional like flannel shirt, or it's striped, or, it incorporates perhaps some color blocking of like vinyl or, pleather going across the shoulder and what's otherwise a, cotton or wool shirt. This is something that we're seeing a lot more of. And personally, I'm really excited about it. I think it can be a really cool way to introduce some splashes of color into your wardrobe or prints that you don't typically wear. I am personally a big fan of florals, like the shirt that I'm wearing right now. Also really love paisley. And I think that as we're seeing more patchwork patterns appearing on the market, that's going to be an opportunity to kind of try out some of those patterns that you might not typically wear in a more reserved way. You might feel more comfortable going with it if most of the panels of your shirt are pretty standard and something that's kind of on brand with you already, but then it incorporates those pops or those splashes of another pattern. In regards to mixing textiles that we're seeing a lot of, one of the trends that I like, but I've also had trouble finding for an affordable price, is their tops that incorporate sheer blocks and sheer spaces. So you see a lot of this. I think Harry Styles is probably the most prominent person right now who's worn quite a bit of sheer clothing, but it's where your shirt will have like lacy or mesh looking areas to it that reveal the skin underneath, or if you're wearing like an undershirt of some type, layering with it, it'll show whatever is underneath it. um, i I personally want to try out and wear some more sheer shirts. I also have some mixed feelings about it as someone who, as I've written about quite a bit on this blog, has wavered and had some issues with just like general body image throughout the course of his life. It's slightly terrifying for me to think like I can just go around, go to the store. God, my life is boring if all I do when I put clothes on is just, I'm just gonna go to the store, not go out, not go to dinner, not go to drinks, just go buy groceries. Just gonna walk my dogs in a sheer top line. But also, as someone who has a lot of like torso tattoos, I'm really excited to try that out and kind of get to showcase the artwork that I have. I almost said that I'm wearing, but like that's a part of me a bit more frequently than I normally do. So who knows? Maybe next time we do one of these recaps, I'll just be wearing some lace up here, and you can see my still unfinished tattoo. That's embarrassing. Still got like a whole right pec that I need to get colored in. We're working on it. So yeah, that's kind of generally what we're seeing a lot of in terms of color and pattern with tops. Thankfully, we're also seeing looser fits. I personally love the silhouette of an oversized top with a more tapered or fitted bottom. In terms of bottoms, we're also seeing a lot of experimentation that kind of gets away from what's been the standard for the last couple of years. You can never go wrong with a straight leg indigo wash denim jean. That is a classic. It's a staple. I recommend having a couple of pairs in your closet at all times. But at the same time, we're seeing other trends in pants and in bottoms that really hark back to trends that we've seen in past decades, but modified and adapted to be more modern. So, for example, high-waisted pants. Not to like just continuously be a Harry Styles fanboy, although if we decided to turn this into a Harry Styles blog, I'm cool with that. Especially if Harry, if you want to come do an interview or just hang out. But Harry Styles has recently been wearing a lot of high-waisted pants, and it's something that we're seeing a lot more of on runways and in fashion shows. So these are pants that typically come up to just above the navel, so bottom of the rib cage, top of the belly button, and that is something that was much more common, kind of in the 30s and 40s, and really fell out of popularity in the 50s. And so at first, when I started seeing some high-waisted pants pop up, I liked it, but was a little bit skeptical. But one of the things that I've noticed modern designers and modern labels are doing with high-waisted pants is, rather than keeping that 30s and 40s silhouette where it's very much like a loose, straight leg coming down from the high-waisted pants, a lot of them are still keeping that front pleat along the front of the leg, but tapering the leg so that it's more shaped to the body and more contoured to your form. And that I think is awesome. And that's something that's on my to buy list that I'm on the lookout for. So if you know of any sources where I can find some high-waisted pants that are not insanely expensive, please send them to me. I really, really want to wear a pair. In the article, I talk about a couple of more options for things that are going on in bottoms, but in my opinion, those are kind of the two most interesting. The high-waisted ones getting a yes vote, and I'm really curious to kind of try out, see how I feel day to day wearing that. And then over the knee baggy shorts, getting a very strong no from me.
Blake here. Just wanted to say really quickly that I had to cut out like a 6 minute rant about baggy shorts that go over the knee. So if you want to know more about that, message me. But I felt like it did not need to go in this video. I was not totally sober when I recorded it. Thanks. Bye.
So we've covered tops, we've covered bottoms. Insert gay sex joke here. That kind of wraps up the high points of the article. I definitely recommend reading it in full. Again, I talk a lot about runway versus realistic wear. And then I also kind of break down a little bit of the notion of like matching your clothes to your complexion, which is something that can be a helpful way to make good looking silhouettes, but also your style and your choices of clothing should not be limited by your complexion. So definitely check out the article for more information on that. And going throughout the year, if you're trying out new styles and incorporate anything that we talked about today, or if you're incorporating something that's completely unique that we didn't talk about, definitely share it with us. I want to see it. Put it on Instagram, tag me at Blake Writes Magazine. I'm more than happy to give it a look and play Queer Eye and give you feedback on it, tell you how amazing you look, gas you up. But I'll go ahead and end it there because my throat is getting even drier. It's probably sounding even raspier. And covered the article. Now I need to finish my wine. As always, if you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments below, whether you're watching this on YouTube or reading it on Blake Writes. Wow, wine and late night recording sessions. That's a mixture we're gonna avoid in the future. Kind of like the lighting, looking at the monitor, but probably not the best video I've made so far. Probably not the most professional. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Maybe I should do videos drunk. We'll see. Regardless, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for reading and continuing to support Blake Writes. And we will be back next time with another article recap.